everyone! Well, we're here, we're back, and today we're doing another anti-MLM video, and for this video we will be talking about Beachbody. This video will be a team call with a theme, which is overcoming objections, which is a very common theme in MLM team calls, and it's just a fancy way of teaching people how to never take no for an answer. A phrase that I've learned from so many subscribers and just being a part of the anti-MLM community as a whole is no is a complete sentence, which is absolutely true and something that MLMers just don't want to believe or choose not to believe because it goes against everything they need because they need a yes in order to make money. So if you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you really like it, please subscribe. Make sure to check out my description below for all of my fun links. And with all of that said, let's get started.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen, and I am excited about this one. So I wanted to come on and talk a little bit about overcoming objections because I think it is one of the things in our business that is like, we don't know what to say when people, like, it's easier for people to ghost us or to say like, yes, sign me up. But the truth is that 99% of the time, people are going to have some sort of objection. They're going to have some sort of thing that's kind of standing in their way.
They call it objections. We call it reasons on the anti-MLM side. If somebody says I don't have the money, to me that's a reason. That's not an objection for the other person to figure out how that person can have money or how that person should spend their money. If they say they have no time, it's not up to the person in the MLM to find time for that other person. It is all 100% on the other person, whether they want to join this or not.
And stopping them from, excuse me, can't apparently take a breath without dying. Right? Like we have questions. And so that's what this is all about. And so maybe objections aren't correct, like the 100% correct way. But it's definitely something that I know I am still working on to this day of like, what do I say when people give me an objection? Overcoming objections, you got this, because we, especially as Midwesterners, right? Like we are not forceful creatures. We are, which I don't want us to be, right? Like I don't want someone to message Taylor and Taylor to be like, oh, you don't like the price? Well, go suck an egg. I don't know, right? Like you don't want that to happen, but we want to feel prepared so we can overcome them, because typically objections actually are just a way of us saying we're scared, but we don't want to admit to someone we're scared. So you got this. So I just kind of said, like, do you ever feel awkward? Because it seems like people have all the excuses, right? Like they just are throwing an excuse after excuse. Like you check in with people months after they told you to check in and they're still giving you excuses.
It's another thing of like, if somebody says not right now, it's a nice way of saying, yeah, no. They assume that you're probably not going to check in with them, but little do a lot of them know is that you are taught in MLMs to check up with people 1 day, 2 days, a week, a month, 3 months, a year. Like a year is the longest that they want you to continuously check up with people. Like when did you first check in on them? Make sure to check up with them exactly a year later or around a year later. That's so much work on the MLMer side to keep track of all these people and remembering the conversations and remembering all this stuff. And, you know, the person on the other side isn't aware of this. So when they say like, oh yeah, not right now, now's not a good time, they assume that you'll probably just move on to the next person. No, they have your name in a notebook and they will message you again.
And so the way we are going to combat this is by having a plan. And this is something that this week I will be posting a PDF that you can save, or like a picture that you can download to your phone, so that when someone tells Peyton like, I don't think I can afford this right now, Peyton's like, okay, let me like go back and look at like what this document.
That is such a perfect reason to not want to spend $165 on a starter kit for Beachbody or pay the $128 every month on Shakeology. I think not having money is a legitimate reason. I see no issues in that, and also you're not in charge of how they spend their money. You get no say on how they spend their money, but they are taught, well, here's what you say when they say that they don't want to spend money to join an MLM.
Said real quick so then I can formulate an idea of like, what do I respond to that? Because a lot of people will hide behind excuses because they're terrified to start, and it has nothing to do with that real excuse. And so the biggest thing that I want to say is the number one.
That makes absolutely no sense. So people would rather say that they have no money or they have no time because they're scared to join an MLM. I don't know if I don't necessarily know if I believe that.
One thing when it comes to overcoming objections, I'm gonna move my computer, actually. Sorry, don't mind me like mid-call being like switching my whole life because I'm sitting on a stool. I don't have the right chair in here, but I'm hunched over and it's really awkward. Oh God, this is great. Okay, don't mind me. But relate back to them. That is the number one thing that you can do, is relate back to them, because they forget that like all of us on this call at one point had that same thought. Like all of us were like, don't know if I want to spend that money on Shakeology. Like, don't know if I'm going to quit or not. Like we all had those. So be super upfront about that and say like, I remember like before I hit the submit button, like I was so terrified because like I didn't talk to my husband. Like I didn't do any of that because I knew he would have shot down $160. And so I totally get where you're coming from with the price. But now that I've been doing it for 3 years, like I would pay triple of what I pay now for the access I have.
Yeah, you say that once you're in, but here's the thing. If it was triple, like 160 times 3, I highly doubt that you would be spending that and dropping that kind of money. Like it's nothing.
And you can even, throw in a joke about like, I'm not here to like make you broke. I just want you to understand that like, it's totally normal what you're feeling. And I felt it too, but I can guarantee you that it is worth the money. And so you just explain how you felt before. We all had like the common objectives I'm going to go through. I think all of us thought about before we signed up. And so we can relate back to that to help them know, like, none of us were magical unicorns that just like went online and randomly signed up for Beachbody and was like, yep, let's go. And so number one, I feel like this is the most common one I get all the time, is I don't have time. We all have 24 hours in the day, honey. But obviously we're not going to say that. Like if I was talking to Angie, I'd be like, buck up. We got 24 hours. Like, let's go.
But again, who are you to tell somebody how they should spend their 24 hours? Yeah, we do all have 24 hours in our day, but we all spend it differently. I've said it before. Somebody who is a stay-at-home mom of 4 kids is going to spend it differently than somebody who is an accountant or a teacher or works at a bank. You who are watching right now probably spend your 24 hours differently than I spend my 24 hours. We all spend it differently, and we all want to have downtime. Their whole point is to take away some of that downtime and fill it with Beachbody. But it's more than just in the nooks and crannies of your time. It takes up so much more of your time because you have your uplines being like, hey, you need to hit Success Club this month. You haven't, gone Emerald. You haven't ranked up to this. You haven't sold this. It's a lot more than just fitting it into 30 minutes of your day. 30 minutes of your day is going to get you nowhere in an MLM besides spending more money towards the MLM. And again, you have no control over other people's time and how they spend it. You just want to have control over it. That is the whole point of this, is you want to have control over their time and you want to have control over their money. You want them to spend as much time on this as possible, and you want them to spend as much money on it as possible because then it makes the uplines money.
It depends on how well you know the person, right? Like I have close friends that I've talked to and I'm like, you just got to get your shit together. Like that's my comment to her objection. But obviously, if this is someone I don't know as well, or someone like I just met on Instagram, I'm not going to be like, get your shit together, Carol. I'm going to talk to them about like, what is a workout time frame that fits into their schedule? Because again,
okay, yeah, maybe you are just wanting to sell them on the workouts and Shakeology, fine. But the thing is that workouts can be found for free on YouTube. I mention this every single time that I do a Beachbody thing is like, they're like, oh, the workouts are so amazing. You don't have to spend $160 to get a 30-minute workout in. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of YouTube videos online that are free. If you want to prioritize working out in your life, you can do that for free on YouTube. Find the time in the morning, find the time at night. If that's what it is, you don't have to spend any money on it. You don't have to be spending your time and energy towards an MLM. You could do it for free in the comfort of your own home, being bothered by nobody.
People are going to make up ideas that they have no clue about, right? Like when people think about working out, I used to always think if I was going to work out, I needed to have at least an hour, which, as all of you know, is very untrue for our system. And so I always ask, like, what is a perfect time frame for their workout? And it's even perfect, guys, if in your conversation before you ask them to sign up, you're like already leading them through these questions. Like you go through the objectives or the objections. Like a lot of times when I'm talking to people and I'm like, what are your goals? And we're talking about that. And I'm like, oh, like, so you want to work out more? Like, what is your, like, if you could pick a time frame to work out in, like how many minutes would your workout be? Right. So then they tell me, oh, like I can work out 35 minutes or 45. And I'm like, perfect. Like we have this 30-minute program that you'd love, blah, blah, blah. So now that I am more skilled in
that is also the thing of people in MLMs. If they are asking you questions and whatnot and you give them answers, they always will have the perfect product for whatever you need. That is always their answer. Like, oh, you're looking for this? Well, I have the perfect product for it. Always.
Conversations, I kind of walk people through objections before they even get there. So ask how short they need. Because now, guys, we even have the 20-minute workouts, which are killer. And we have 2 programs. So right, job 1, but also morning meltdown. And then talk about how you could prioritize it in the morning. I straight up ask people, like, do you think it would be an idea to wake up 30 minutes earlier to do this? Because a lot of people, they're like, well, I like to sleep in, like most.
Yeah. And also, like, a lot of people need sleep. You taking sleep away from somebody, like, if they want to prioritize things in their life, let them choose if they want to wake up earlier and do it. It is not up to you to decide what time they should wake up, how much money they should spend, how much time they should spend on this. It's not up to you. It is up to them.
Like, I don't have a lot of people who tell me they get up at 4:30 to get stuff done before work. Like, most people are either up early to work out or they're sleeping till like their alarm goes off. So that's a lot of times what I ask.
But you also don't know what time these people go to bed. You don't know maybe you do know because you know what they do for like a job, let's say. And a lot of jobs will, carry over into doing stuff at home, like teachers. They do all that keeps them up later and then they gotta, go back and teach again and do it all over again. Teachers are amazing. I love you guys. So it's like, you just don't know. And also, coming home after a long day of work and just wanting to relax and do all this stuff instead of either having less sleep or going to bed earlier and taking away that time so that you can get up and do your MLM workout. No.
I also ask if I could like help walk them through their schedule. Like I ask, what's keeping you busy? Like what's going on? Like, could I help you like find some time in there to work out? A lot of people, and I'm the first person, right? I would have said I was a busy person, but I was watching a lot of Netflix. I was scrolling on my phone a lot. I was spending a lot of time at work that I didn't need to spend at work, like work-life balance, and stuff like that. So I asked if I could help them find time. And then if people are,
heaven forbid, somebody wants to come home after a long day of work and watch a show on Netflix. That is like the kryptonite of MLMs when they hear somebody watches Netflix. Like, it's so funny.
Genuinely, like, I'm in college.
Like, the only time you can mention Netflix positively is by thanking the MLM for giving you your time freedom to sit with your family and watch Netflix and take a aesthetic photo of it and sit on your phone and wait for all the comments to flood in so then you can hopefully sell to those people.
I'm a pharmacy student, like I'm dying. Like I just can't do this right now. I ask them, when is a good time for me to check back in, right? I'll say like, okay, so when is life going to slow down a little bit and we can have this conversation again? Because if their only block is time, okay, so when is your time better and when can we get you signed up? And that's not what I say. I just say, when's a good time for me to check back in when maybe life slows down a little bit, and then They might say, like, I have had people directly tell me, like, check in with me on May 20th because it's after I graduate from college and I'll be, you know, or I started this job or XYZ. And then I write their name down in my planner for that day so that when I
that name in a notebook,
flipping through my planner, I'm like, oh, I got to check in with so-and-so today. So that's a few ways to go about it that I don't really think, like, as long as you're not like, you know, well, we all have 24 hours and I fit it in, so you can too. Like, and again, if I was going to relate back to this, I would relate back to, like, I totally get what you're feeling as someone who's a teacher and all this. Like, I felt like I had no time. Then I realized that I had a lot more time in the mornings if I didn't snooze my alarm until 15 minutes before I had to leave my house. And right. So then you're kind of like, oh, correct. Next, this one is so fun. Money, because money is a touchy topic regardless of who you are, how much money you have. It's just weird. It's too expensive. One question I've been asking a lot, I've said this time and time again on team calls, a lot of people have no clue how much it costs. A lot of people, I've had people genuinely tell me they think Beachbody is like $400 a month.
And it may not be $400 a month, that's true, but it's still spending $125 in Shakeology, maybe a little bit less if you sign up for some special doodad thing, and you get like a percentage off. But then they also want you to buy, you know, the special new workouts that come out, and there's other products, and you know, it adds up eventually. You may not be spending $400 a month, but you're spending $125 or $200 a month, and that is a lot of money.
I'm like, no. Like, if you can do one time 160, like, you're prime. Even that, guys, I started asking what's a price within your budget, because some people will say it's too expensive, haven't given them any pricing details at all, and they tell me, oh, well, like under 200 is good. And I'm like, perfect, I have a solution for you. Or they tell me, you know, 160 is too much. And I say, what's the number for you? And they said, oh, like $100. Okay, well, a year's supply of Beachbody On Demand is $100. So then I can say, hey, like, okay, so here's what we can do. We can do these workouts for a year, etc., right? And then maybe next year you'll have more money and then you can try the whole package. So we talk about that. Again, relate back to, I think all of us hesitated on price. I know I was someone who hesitated and like hovered, and I even signed up the worst way possible. Like, I signed up the most expensive way possible. I signed up for a year of Beachbody On Demand, and I got Energize because I didn't want to pay $160 for a pack. I paid $150 for Energize and $99 and the workouts. Dumb. And then a week later I signed up as a coach. So then I paid another $40. So, right, like, I understand the price thing and what people are noticing. One thing I kind of talk a little bit about is the sacrifices I made and how it is a sacrifice, but I found extra money in my grocery budget. I found that if I stopped snacking all the time and stopped getting fast food, that money paid for my Shakeology. That money paid for my subscription. So here's an example of something that you could say is like, I totally understand you're feeling that way. I felt the exact same way when I first heard the price of Shakeology. Because guys, for real, I didn't buy Shakeology for like the first 2 to 3 months I was a coach, because it was like, I told myself I had to make enough to cover my Shakeology before I'd try it. And I remember even saying to myself that there is no way I would ever spend that much money on a protein shake. But once I did my research, realized it wasn't just a protein shake, like something that would actually allow me to get all my nutrients on a daily basis. And I found I was,
you know, it's also cheaper than Shakeology, real vegetables.
Actually spending more money on junk food and fast food. When I did our budget, I realized that I were spending close to $400 on fast food a month. So you're telling me that, like, if I could even cut that in half.
But that's just you. I feel like most people don't spend $400 in fast food. I don't know though, but I feel like most people are not doing that. So you're telling them to cut out other things in their budget that they're doing. And maybe they already are, and maybe she's referring to the people who can cut it out. But again, everybody needs to be led to a yes, and you need to figure out ways for anyone and everyone to cut their budget so that they can afford an MLM overpriced product into their life. So I am now wearing a different shirt because it is a different day. When I was filming this first half, I was having computer problems while I was recording it, so hopefully now that will not happen. Hopefully. All right, let's get back into the react.
honestly, I couldn't afford not to drink it if I wanted to stay healthy and reach my goals anymore. So you'd obviously have to like word that you would say that and take out some of my errors. I kind of did this quickly. So like that last sentence, I would definitely put like, honestly, anymore, I couldn't afford not to drink it. Now like when I tell people I have paid for this product for almost 3 years straight, like that's how much I believe in it, then I think people are like, oh, like if you're willing to spend that much money for 3 years, like maybe this is worth something.
No. Just because somebody's willing to put money towards something for X amount of time does not mean that makes it worth it. Like plenty of people put time and energy towards things that ends up not being worth it. So that's not a good, no, that time and money does not equate to success.
So that's kind of what I say for the money objective, or
at least specifically in an MLM.
I always say objective, but I mean objections. And so I try to just talk about like, I understand, right? We talk about the feel, felt, found. Like I feel where you're coming from. This is how I felt. And I found that, right? I found that when I was drinking my Shakeology and focusing on eating less fast food, meal planning, that I found I was actually spending less money in my grocery budget, which helped me afford my Shakeology, right? So
obviously, yeah, spending less money on eating out every single day will save you money. That's just science.
Feel like I always make sure they know their feelings are valid and I understand them. I kind of talk about how I felt and then how I found a way around that. Next is something else. This is one I love. Because it is still such a good door. I already use blank, right? Insert. I already use the gym. I already use the Fit app. I use First Form. I use whatever, which is 100% fine. My number one tip to you is hype them up for the fact they're doing something, because I think people are so scared to tell us they do something else because they think that like, oh, I'm going to tell Amanda that I go to the gym, and then she's going to be like, oh, okay, never mind. Don't want to talk to you. And guys, that's how I used to be. Like, I didn't know what to say. Like, I would be so awkward because they'd be like, actually, I go to the gym 5 days a week. And I'd be like, oh, okay, great. Sounds good. Talk to you later. And it was so awkward. So now I focus on how can I encourage them? Like, even if I see girls on their stories taking gym selfies or showing off things at the gym, like I will literally message them and be like, I'm so proud of you for working out today. Because the thing is like, we are here to hype up people. And yes, at the end of the day, I would love if they sign up as my challenger, but I also want to hype them up just in general I just realized I did not change any of the pictures in here. Like, what is the picture of a couch?
Let's get down to business.
Couch. Sorry, I just realized that. Like, why is there a couch? Oh gosh. Okay, today's been a long day. So don't mind my couch. It's figurative that there's room for them on the couch. But I still hype them up because at the end of the day, right? When COVID shut down, none of us knew that was happening. When COVID shut down, people with gyms needed a place to go. People move and then they're far away from a gym and they need something to do, right? Some people will come to me. I have people who have gym memberships who use Beachbody because they just feel like they don't exactly know what to do at the gym. So
don't go to Beachbody if you don't know what to do at the gym. There are people that you can pay at the gym. There are real trainers and real coaches at the gym. People who just sign or buy a starter kit are not a coach, even though they like to claim that they are.
I try to keep that relationship still really strong, and I am really proud of them, and I let them know if they ever need anything, I'm here. Some people will be willing to pay for Beachbody On Demand to have the accountability group side of things, right? Like, I 100% could see, like, I mean, there are people out there that are life coaches, stuff like that, that essentially people pay them to keep them accountable for their goals. So it's like, I could see too, people just being like, well, the $99 for a year, like that's worth it for me to pay for a group to post my sweaty selfies and to.
So you'd rather pay $100 a year to just be able to talk to people who are also in an MLM instead of, there are free groups all over Facebook. There are free accountability groups all over Facebook. I'm sure there's ones on Instagram. I'm sure there's things you could do on TikTok if you want to hold yourself accountable. Like, if you want to hold yourself accountable and you want someone to do it, there are free ways to do that.
Accountable. But on the flip side of that, is some things you can talk about is ask if it's working for them. I have had, I have one girl who told me that she'd like to join us at the end of this month because she bought a workout membership on an app and she has not touched it once. And she's like, this is what I need, but I'm going to wait till the 4 weeks are up. So I'm not paying for 2 memberships at once. But like, I asked, if I would have never asked her how it was working, it would have just been like, oh, great. Glad you have something, on to the next human being. But I got to dig deeper and see what they were missing. Same thing for the gym. Like, I have people who use it. They go to the gym to lift. I'm going to sneeze. I'm sorry.
Bless you.
I have people who will lift at the gym, but then they use our programs for the HIIT and cardio. So you never know. And then that's kind of what it leads into when I ask what they could change in their current program. Like, what is it that you're not like super in love with? Or what do you wish you had more of? And then a lot of times I'll just be like, well, here's a little bit about our program. If there's anything else you ever want to know, just let me know. But I'll be here still cheering you on. And so I've gotten a lot of messages about how they're so surprised that I cheer people on so much that do not have Beachbody, that like go to the gym. Like, they're like, I can always count on you to like hype me up. And it's like, that's what I want to be here for. I don't want people to think I'm only in this to sell them something. I don't know if you guys have ran into this one, but I've tried it before. That was my objective. I did Beachbody like 4-5 years ago when I was in college. I didn't realize college was that far. Coach, and they sign them up. And then these people are just kind of sitting out in the open and are lost. They're lost orphans. So just know that like people want to work with what we're doing in our team. People need what we're doing in our team. So take pride in that. And then I just wanted this last one I hear all the time is that this shouldn't even be I have a coach. Like, I have Beachbody. I'm changing that right now. I have. And I know I've had a few of you ladies who are like, everyone I know already does Beachbody, or like just super struggling with that. That was me at the beginning. I was like, every human being I talk to has Beachbody. What the heck?
Weird. It's like it's an oversaturated market. Strange.
Which isn't true. It just feels like it. And so,
I mean, also true. I feel like definitely majority do not, but obviously they always want you to target a certain demographic, which is usually people who are probably overweight or people who are struggling, usually people that you know in your vicinity, and then people who are in your area. And so maybe because somebody got you into Beachbody, you know a lot of people who do Beachbody. So that could definitely be a part of it. Or maybe they say, I've tried Beachbody before, and then they're like, yep, not for me.
These are some questions I ask people who have Beachbody. I don't even have the first one on there. The first question I always ask is what program is their favorite? Like I'm always super cool about it. Like, I'm always, again, hyping them up. Like, oh my God, that's so awesome. I love Beachbody. Like, what is your favorite program? Because again,
Sorry, I was reading her thing and I like how here it says, are you close with them? This helps to know if they are your sister, cousin, best friend. What do you mean? Like, it helps you know if they are. I think you would know if they are your sister or a part of your family or your best friend. I don't know if that was worded weird. I'm just reading it differently, but it's like, this helps you know if they are a sister, cousin, or best friend. Like, maybe she'll go more into it. I assume she will.
2, don't be the awkward. I used to be that they'd be like, I already have Beachbody. And I'm like, oh, okay, awesome. Talk to you later. Bye. Like, literally, like, as fast as I could run out of that message, I was gone because I like had no clue what to say. And then I was like, wait, why am I being so weird about this? Because like, if I bought a shirt and then I saw someone with that shirt, I'd be like, oh my God, I love your shirt. Like, is that your favorite thing from that boutique? Like, I love that boutique too, right? Like, we'd have a conversation about it. So I'm like, why am I being, I think it's because at first I was so like, oh, well, that means they're not going to sign up with me because I already have Beachbody. Dang it. And now it's like, okay, but I have learned that, right? A lot of people with Beachbody don't have someone supporting them. A lot of people with Beachbody have never completed a program. A lot of people with Beachbody signed up maybe randomly. They didn't know how it worked, right? Not everyone knows like that you can sign up with a coach in order to get in their accountability groups. A lot of people will just be like, oh, does Beachbody? I'm going to go on beachbody.com and sign up and do that. I've had people who literally come to me like 30 days after they sign up and are like, so like I went on the Beachbody website and I bought Beachbody, but like, I just can't keep myself accountable. Like, what do I do? And I'm like, let me help you. So I also talk to them about, do you have a coach that is supporting you? I want to change this so that makes sense. Is your coach supporting you? So typically I ask them, do you have a coach? Because they'll say like, no, like I don't even know who my coach is. It's some rando and they've never reached out to me. Maybe they're like, yeah, like I have a coach. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, are you in an accountability group? Like, what's going on? Like, typically if they tell me like, I've done 10 workout programs and I love, this, I'm like, okay, sweet. You're good. But a lot of times when they're like, well, I've tried this, this, and this, and I just can't stick with it. Then I like dig a little deeper, kind of feel it out. So then if they're talking to me about like, well, I have a coach, but don't really have a coach, like, or my coach quit, I ask like, are you close with them? Like, because again, some people are signed up under their mom, their sister, their best friend, like their aunt.
That's what they mean by, are you close with them? Like, is your coach somebody that you're related to or somebody that you have a close personal relationship with? Because more than likely that means that they won't steal that person from their sister or from their friend, because that is the whole point of this, is essentially taking a downline from someone because they are not being coached appropriately. And it is very against the MLM world to steal downlines. But of course, if you word it in different ways and say like, well, maybe they don't like who they're under. And it's like, yeah, but let them make that decision. You coming to them and stealing that downline because that person isn't doing their job properly, whether they like them or not, it's just not your place to do that.
I'm not going to be like, you should come join my accountability group when like it's obviously someone they're close with. And I want to preface this. I always tell people I am not here to steal anyone's challengers.
It's the fact that you need to even say and put that disclaimer in there, like, I'm not stealing. I'm just asking them if they would like to move to my team because it benefits me. Instead of maybe helping them just in general, like they're on somebody else's, they're a part of somebody else's team. They're under a different coach. And maybe if you love Beachbody so much, you could just help them, but no, you want to financially benefit off of them. That is the point of them coming over to your team.
I'm not here to take challengers away from anyone. I am not here poaching people like to get them as my customers. Like I am out here trying to make sure people have the accountability they deserve in a coach. Because my thought is if you're signed up under a coach and they are getting a monetary benefit from you, like you should be doing your job, because that's the point of us getting paid, is like we are doing our job. That'd be like, I'm not even going to use that example because it happens all the time. I was going to say that'd be like having a teacher that you like pay, but the teacher teaches nothing. But then I realize that happens like all the time. So I can't even make that example.
But they're not, I guess they are paying you, but like also it's the point is that like they believe that they are also their own coach. It's their own business. It's based off of a lie. I don't know.
And then I ask them, do you know that you're allowed to switch coaches? Because a lot of people don't know that, right? And so then we have that conversation of, because a lot of people, maybe it's random, maybe their coach quit, maybe they have never heard, right? Like I hear a lot of times, like, I have never heard from my coach besides the day I signed up. And it's, and that sucks. And so I just let them know that it's 100% their choice. I also have had conversations with people who are close to their coach, but their coach does nothing. And so then I just talk to them about like, okay, I'm going to actually find this exact conversation because I want to show you how we can do this in the right way, because there is a right and a wrong way, and in a way that feels good. So she was talking to me about how her husband is best friends with this other guy's husband, who's her coach, right? Like, so they're not best friends, but the husbands are best friends. So she just said, I don't want it to be weird and stuff like that. And I just said, I totally hear you 100%. And right then I went through my whole, I'm not here to steal anyone's customers or take customers away as all. I want it to be 100% your choice. And I don't want those vibes.
It's just this disclaimer. It's like like the whole pyramid scheme thing. Like, by the way, you may have heard the word pyramid scheme. We're not. It's like, it may look like I'm stealing you from somebody else, but I'm totally not doing that. And then you make it, of course, in a way that is like, you came to them, you asked them questions, you're putting it in their mind now that they can switch to you, but you're making it, but it's not, I'm not stealing you, it's all on your decision. Manipulation 101.
It's out there. But if you are willing to, I would help you find a way to message her that feels good for you. Like you could talk about maybe how you're looking for a coach with more support and that you love her and your friendship, but you need an active group to help you stick to your goals. Cause she said her coach runs no groups. So I said, how does that feel for you? Like, what do you feel about that? And she said, I really, really like that. I really need some encouragement. So I'm going to talk to her. I am avoiding conflict, but I need to feel happy with myself again. So, right. Like I just walked through like her walking through that process because whatever. So I just wanted to give you that example because that was an example of someone who is close friends with their coach, but like they needed more.
You just said that they weren't close friends with their coach though. You just said that her husband and then the other woman's husband are best friends, but they are not best friends. So like, I guess maybe they like are clearly like, they know each other and maybe they are friendly, but, and I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too much into it.
And so, and again, I always 100% put it in their court. Like, I don't want them to feel pressured. I'm just saying, like, if you want something, because this is a girl who messages me like every time I post about Shakeology and is like, I have so much Shakeology to use up. And I'm like, okay, so how many times did your auto?
What do you mean you have so much Shakeology to use up? Like, that, is she spending way too much? Because, like, they're supposed to send you a 30-day supply and you're supposed to drink one a day. So unless you're getting more than a 30-day supply, like, you have, that's not good.
Ship go. Like, you need support. This is a time where I wanted to ask if there's any other objections you guys have gotten that you're wondering how you would respond to. So this is kind of just like an open, if you have any questions, it could be any question at all about anything, or it can be about objections too. Is there any objections you guys have gotten that I didn't cover?
I guess I've had it twice now, or I've had someone, or I guess two different people, where they've told me, well, I just don't work out, or I'm not into that kind of stuff at all. And it's like, I don't know how to answer because I'm just like, you don't do anything. I don't know. That's just like a surprise for me. So I'm like, okay.
That is one that, I should look into. Hang on, let me write it.
It's also clearly maybe a really good reason to give someone to get them to stop messaging you about an MLM is like, I don't work out. Because like, what are you supposed to say to that? That's a really good one. Because like, they can't say anything. If you say, I don't work out because I don't want to, hey, it's their life, it's their choice. And even if it is a true statement and they are just letting you know like, hey, I don't work out, it's not your place to force them to do something and spend money on something that they are not going to use.
Sticky note, because to be honest, that's a really good one that I also find very awkward because they're like, I actually have no desire to work out.
And that's totally fine also. It is none of your business what that person wants to do. Maybe they have no desire to lose weight because they don't need to. Maybe they're just, they get enough exercise in their daily work life. You don't know, and it's none of your goddamn business.
And I'm like, okay, like, rare, like, and to me,
is it rare that somebody doesn't work out? I don't think so.
I try to get to the root of that. And I'm like, why is that? Like, why? Because I think that comes from, again, when I first started, before I started Beachbody, I had I faked confidence in order to feel okay with me not being confident. So I'd be like, I love myself. I don't need to work out. I'm going to eat Shamrock shakes every day and Oreos and whatever food I want because I love myself. But that's how I covered up like the fact that I really didn't like myself. And so then I just like, it was this vicious.
I do think that maybe people do put on a false confidence, but at the same time, because somebody says that they don't like working out, it doesn't mean that they're eating like crap every day.
Cycle. So if someone says like, well, I just really don't want to work out, then I'd be like, why is that? Like, what, like, you know, can you tell me? I love using the phrase like, can you tell me more about that? Like, why? Like,
because I said so? Because you are a stranger?
And some people, yeah, you can't win them all. Like, you're just going to have to be like, okay, sounds good. Well, if you ever change your mind, like, I'll be here. But that's one that I need to like think.
How about that is, I mean, any objection is a reason that somebody does not want to join your MLM. So this objection that she said of I don't want to work out, instead of being like, wow, yeah, maybe that is the one time that, hey, if they don't want to work out, don't pressure them. Instead, it's like, let me think about a good way to work around it and manipulate them to joining Beachbody.
I think, Anya, I just don't work out. I guess the other thing too that I would talk about with that one is what are other areas of their health they would like to work on, right? Because some people, like Angie and I have talked about this before. Another objection I get a lot, not a lot, but sometimes that drives me up a wall is when people are like, well, I'm trying to get my mental health in check before I start my fitness, which I understand. But also then I talk about how, like, honestly, the reason why my depression and anxiety are in check is because I work out every day. So I try to like I do understand the thought process of like, okay, I'm going to get this under control, then get the next thing under control. But I try to help them understand that like our body's processes are all related, and it's also related to the food you put in your body. And so many people are like, I'm depressed. And I'm like, well, you eat chicken nuggets and French fries every single day. Like, that is not good for you.
Right, but somebody saying they're depressed, maybe they eat wonderfully. You don't know. And to equate that the reason why they're depressed is because they eat like crap, and I know that she's not, maybe she is generalizing it, I don't know. But if somebody says, I want to get my mental health in check because I cannot even get out of bed to go to the gym, I am struggling because of financial reasons, I don't have the money to be putting towards Beachbody. Maybe once I get that figured out and my mental health figured out, then I can maybe come to you. But the fact that you are annoyed that people said they want to get their mental health checked out before joining an MLM, are you kidding me? That is their life, that is their struggles, and you wanting them to join an MLM for your financial benefit only will ruin their mental health more. Maybe it'll help in certain ways and give them some tools somehow, some way, like maybe with some sort of something, I don't know. But how people deal with their mental health is up to them. And instead of spending money on stupid workouts that you can do for free online, they should put that money towards a therapist. They should put that money towards a counselor. They should put that money towards much better things than joining your MLM. And to say that you're annoyed, that it annoys you that people use that and say that to you because it's their truth, it's just, that bothers me. What she said, how she believes that it bothers her when people say that they would like to get their mental health checked before they can work on their physical health, which makes perfect sense to me. I don't know. Yeah, working out can help with your mental health, but everybody is different. And to say that like, oh, well, you're depressed because you eat chicken nuggets and French fries every day. You don't know what that person's doing. You don't know if that person has an extremely stressful job, but also eats healthy. You don't know. So maybe it's also just a reason that they are giving you to not join your MLM. Ever consider that? Ever consider that?
Your hormones, which is not helping you be mentally stable. Like, there's multiple things that go into it. So that's one though that I've gotten to a few times. Like, I just don't want to work out. Okay. Like, well, don't know what to do on that one.
At least somebody finally, I mean, there have been questions in other MLM videos when they like get to the Q&A part that has stumped the host of the call, but I think that would really like, what do you say when somebody says, I don't want to work out, and your whole thing is really getting people to buy into these workouts that you have to buy yearly or I was gonna say bi-yearly, bi-yearly, right? No, I was gonna say bi-monthly. I don't know. Or you have to spend a bunch of money on workouts that, again, don't know how many times I need to say it, are free on YouTube. And a lot of the YouTubers will have accountability groups on Facebook or on certain websites and stuff that are free. So you get to see the free workout and you get to be a part of a free accountability group hosted by the YouTuber.
So that's when I'm a little stumped on. I would just try to get to the bottom of like, why? A lot of times, like if you keep asking why,
you will sound like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. It's like when you give them an answer and they're like, but why? Like my sister was like that. I think my mom said that my sister was the child that if you said like, she'd ask a question, you'd give her an answer. She'd be like, well, why? Well, why? Well, why? And it would have to like break down into like scientific reasons that a 3-year-old will never understand. So I just think that that's funny that, you know, it's like, just keep asking them why. And eventually you'll get to the root of it all. I would be like, why is this stranger questioning me on what I do on a daily basis? Leave me alone.
It's kind of like the pricing, like people tell me, and price can be very valid, right? I know people, like, I will never forget when I went, I'd be like at work and people would be like, it's payday when we were in college, it's payday. And I'm like, yeah, like I literally have 13 cents to my name. And I'm like, like I don't run that. Like I would never be able to run that way, but some people run that way. So to me, like having no money is like a certain amount in my bank account is like 0 in my eyes. So to me, the pricing was always really hard, but I've had people too who.
What?
So that's a good one.
So you think that when people say that pricing is an issue, the only excuse that you would accept is that they have $0 in their bank account and that's why they cannot buy Beachbody? Is that what I'm getting?
What other objections have you guys got that you're like, this doesn't make sense? What would you say?
I guess like I just use my sister's account or I just use my best friend's account. So I just like, then I'm like, okay, well, I don't know where to go with from there.
I would ask them how that's working for them. Cause a lot of people will say like, well, I have so-and-so's account. And a lot of them won't work out consistently because they don't have the accountability piece. So then I encourage them to, you know, I said, a lot of times I'll say like, have you ever thought about getting your own account? Because I think it's Allie Krieger, who's one of my challengers. She always used someone else's account. And then I was like, she really wanted it on the accountability side of things. And I'm like, well, you have to have your own accountability. Like you have to have your own thing. And let me preface, if you are a newer coach, Emily, Elle, and I were having this conversation earlier today because when I was a new coach, even if someone shared account, I would be like, sure, you could be in my group because I wanted anyone and everyone to just like come in and see what it was about. So if you want to go that route, you're totally allowed to run this business however you want. Now I will have people who are like, I go to the gym, but I would love to do your Love the Body accountability group. And I was like, sorry, it's only for people who are my challengers or like.
So remember earlier in this video when she made a comment about how like if people are going to the gym and she's there to support them and she's like, hey, you're doing the thing and I'm here to support you. And isn't the whole point of being a coach and being a part of this world is you just want to help people. You're just here to help people. You're here to change lives. No, it's clearly for the money. If somebody's like, hey, I'd love to be a part of your accountability group, which I believe is usually just a Facebook group. I could be wrong. Maybe it is like a separate part of Beachbody, but obviously if she said like, oh, when I first was coaching, I would allow people in to see what it's like. No, you're not letting people in because you can't make money off of them. It has nothing to do with changing lives and wanting everyone to be the best version of themselves and to help them, you know, along their, you know, weight loss or health journey, whatever they want to do. No, it's about making money. So with claiming before that you were supporting people and messaging people. I'm so proud of you for going to the gym because you're doing it. But then the moment somebody said, hey, I'd love to be a part of your accountability group, it's like, no, you have to give me money.
We had an instance where it was a girl who has Beachbody.
So it's like, don't say that you're just here to help people and change lives. You're here to make money, which again, there's nothing wrong with that because that's how the world works. We need money to be able to live, to do things. But it's like they make it seem like they are these humanitarians who just want to help change the world and help people. You just want to make money. So I don't like that they hide behind this changing people's lives crap when we know it's just about making money.
Under another person, and she's like, well, I really like you guys, like, can I join your group? And I said, nope, I'm sorry, but you have to be one of our challengers.
Okay, that's another thing. She just said that somebody is a part of something, like under somebody else is a coach, and it's like, oh, I'd love to be a part of your thing. It's like, no, you have to be under me. It's like, what happened to supporting? You're all such a supportive thing. Is it like you're only supportive to the people who are a part of your downline? I'm gonna go with yes.
So I say it obviously in a really polite way of like, you know, I'm loving that you have access to the workouts. I'd ask them how they're going. I find a lot of people who don't have the accountability groups like struggle a little more unless you can get like, if you can get past the first few programs, then typically you can plug away just fine on your own. But I don't hear of a lot of people who borrow an account with someone and are like super consistent. So I typically ask them to like what other perks, like, you know, have they ever wanted to try product? Have they ever wanted to try like body is a nice way now, right? Because like they can get body and all that kind of stuff. And so typically I'm pretty straightforward and ask if they've ever thought about getting their own account. But yeah, Beachbody hasn't figured it out yet, and it's not a bad thing, but they haven't figured out the whole, like how Netflix, right? You can only have one person watching at a time. Beachbody doesn't.
Wait, are you praising Netflix right now? That's illegal in MLMs. You can't do that.
Have that because I've definitely, like, that's how there's, if you've ever been on a podcast or watched a body workout and there's a person on to like, there's on the bike coming at you and then there's like a full body view of them. It's because they're doing the workout on like their computer and their bike. So their account is doing two workouts, which is whatever. Beachbody hasn't like stopped that yet. Which I don't think that's like their goal, I guess, either. But I don't know.
But notice how if it was her own program, something that she wanted to implement into the service, because it's her own company, she could do that. But because she is just somebody that paid a starter kit at Beachbody and has the title of coach or emerald or diamond or whatever rank she is in the company, she has no say over that.
Mackenzie. Okay. Other objections? These are good. Because of course, when I was like trying to write this, I could only think of the very basic ones. Like I could not. Cool. Okay. Yeah, if it's someone you love a lot, it's a lot easier to be a lot more direct with them and just be like, you know, like, well, you got to make it a priority. You got to do this, you know, but if you don't know them, I obviously try to just be a lot gentler.
You have to make the MLM a priority. Like, it'd be one thing if, like, you know, it's a sister or a friend and you're like, hey, let's go to the gym together. I know that it's something that you have been wanting to do. Let's go together. Let's keep each other accountable. That's different than just this, where it's like, hey, I need you to sign up underneath me so that it helps me rank up in this thing that looks like this, that's totally different than corporate.
About it. But being straightforward is good too. And I think being straightforward on your stories, I've only ever had one time where I've been very like point blank about an objection and someone has like come at me about like, not everyone has the money. And, you know, because I think I said something about like, if you have, like, I talked about the price and I talked about like, everyone can make it work. You just might have to make some sacrifices. You have to move stuff around, right?
Right, but it's not your job to tell people what to do with their money.
Like you have to maybe cut out going to the bar, going out to eat. And I had one girl who like literally like attacked me and was like, I literally have $5 in my.
I don't think she was attacking you. I think she was just telling you how she felt. That's not an attack. Opinions are not attacks.
Bank account and you have no idea what this is about. And I'm like, okay. sorry to offend you. And so, but otherwise I talk all the time. Like, I think common objections too, we can put in our stories, in our posts, all that makes for really good conversation. And showing that, like, you know, I just think of in your post or in your stories about like, yeah, I used to not make time to work out, or I used to, you know, or I put like, I don't have time. And then it's like, that's what I told myself for months after, or like before I started, because I wanted to make myself feel better and have an excuse to not get started. And so talking about those two, the more you talk about them on social, it starts to like break down those barriers too of people being able to use those. So perfect. Anything else? Awesome sauce. Okay. We are going to hop off and have a great, great, great week. I am so excited. So you must be feeling amazing. I'm going to stop the recording and if you want.
Bye, Beachbody lady. Okay. All right. I got that finally all filmed. It has been a disaster on this side. Hopefully editing goes better. Anyways, so this whole objections thing, it's so MLM, and I get that it's also like a sales tactic, but like it's just, when it comes to Beachbody, it's like you are trying to sell people on, you know, workouts and stuff like that. And, you know, maybe during COVID, unfortunately, I know that was a lot easier of a sell for them. Gross, right? But now that everything is opening up, but also it's hard to counteract, you know, free, like free stuff on YouTube, free things. So I think that's why she focused a lot on the accountability side. Like, well, we have the accountability part, and that's what everybody loves, when you can find that online. The internet has everything, and you can find a lot of the things you want for free. Finding workouts for free, finding accountability groups for free, that is all possible with the internet. You don't need to sign up and pay Beachbody a ridiculous amount of money. And it's not like you just are going in and be like, oh, I love the accountability group with the workouts. These people are going to try and talk you into Shakeology, which is $125 a month. They're going to try and talk you into also becoming a coach, because they'll tell you about all the benefits of being a coach. And, you know, don't you want to just like be your own boss? That's the real sell of it all, is becoming a part of the pyramid structure, being a part of the downline. When you are just a casual customer, they will not focus on you as much. They will focus on the people who are willing to become a part of their downline, because when you sign up and become a part of the downline, that is how people rank up. So it's so much more than just this accountability thing, and not saying that every single person, every single MLM is like that. But majority of them will try and sell you the products to then lure you in with the opportunity and talk about how much money they make and show off their perfect life on social media. It's how people can do that to other people, how people can say and be annoyed that somebody wants to work on their mental health before working on their physical health. It's none of your business what they want to do and how they want to go about it. And to be annoyed that they want to work on their mental health and to think that you know how to solve that with an MLM and some Beachbody workouts, absolutely not. If they want to work on their physical health and do that for free, because I think that would physically and mentally make somebody feel better if they did something for free, that's for sure, then joining a pyramid scheme because somebody caught them at a wrong time. I think it's just, to be annoyed that somebody would say that is very telling in MLMs, and does not show any empathy, or that you only care about the people when it comes to joining MLMs. Alright you guys, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really hope that I can get this whole computer thing figured out, because it was a mess, this whole video. I'm so sorry if there are many jump cuts or some things don't make sense. I am trying my best. So if you guys like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you really, really like it, please subscribe. Let's talk anything and everything Beachbody in the comments below. And until my next video, I will see you guys then. Bye!